Councilman Conti?
Here.
Councilman Halco?
Here.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Here.
Council President Samaluka?
Here.
Where's George?
Please rise, salute the flag, and please remain standing for a minute of silence in memory of Southbrook firefighter Jake Meyer.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members on March 28, 2014, and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Southbrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
Motion. Okay, well, before that, I'm just going to remind everyone, we're here for a work session on Tuesday. I'm just going to ask, because you're not here, we can hear the rumblings from the back of the room. If you have any comments, I mean, obviously, you're more than welcome to make your comments at the podium, but please, during the course of the meeting, we'd just like you to respect the process, and if you have anything to say, go outside and say it if you feel the need to speak to someone else in the audience. But please, it is very distracting, and it makes it hard to do business up here, which is why we're here. All right, take a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Motion.
Mr. Conti, second by Mr. Camilleri. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Anybody want to come up and address the council?
Larry Ratajczak, 92 Claremont Ave. I brought them two articles to you. We asked to see them, Mr. Samaluka, and the one article, like I said, I know it was for benefits and vacation time, but it does say in there that elected officials are not township employees. And like I said, the state is going after the people in Patterson. And like I say, if they're going to go after them, they should be here next, because we don't have any ordinance in place that we can prove. Mr. Chakowski, did you bring me that paperwork today?
You asked for one of these salary ordinances?
No. Yeah, one of them. That's what I asked for.
I have 2010, if you would like.
Is that the most one? Is that the one that we're going by?
Well, they all say the same.
They all say the same. Okay, thank you. And what I was looking for is the wording. This is just the salaries. I don't need that. I need the wording from that ordinance that you're going off of, or that paperwork that you're going off of. This is just a waste of time, because I have 9, 10, 11, 12. That's just salaries. That
Mr.
doesn't
President,
say.
I told you a couple of times that if you're looking for a piece of paper
Right.
that says the Township Council shall receive health benefits,
Right.
there is none.
Well, why did we beat around the bush for 8, 9 months,
Because
2 years maybe with Pete?
'Cause
Because it doesn't
before-
exist. It does. Why
No.
couldn't you just come out and say we don't have one?
100% correct.
Why
That's not
you're
it.
saying right now? Why couldn't you say that 8, 9 months ago or a year ago?
He searched through 50
Come on, you know,
years of
Andrew, you know it.
ordinances.
You know it, he knows it, and everybody else knows it. It doesn't
I do
exist.
not know that.
So how did you amend something that doesn't exist?
Meant what?
That ordinance that you did to put yourself in as getting health care and the new people coming in. You amended an ordinance. You amended something. I said, how do you amend something that doesn't exist?
Those words don't exist, but the council getting benefits has existed for 50 years.
But it's wrong. Past presence doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean, and you have nothing, and you misled the town on that, saying that there was an ordinance, we're amending it. Like I say, I don't want to spend my whole time on that, but I do want to get back into the people. Like Mr. Halco said that we saved $160,000. I don't care if you saved 16 cents. You campaigned, you, Mr. Conti, and the mayor, campaigned on that savings of $240, and you were going to take nothing. And you ran your campaign on that. And you also misled and deceived the public on that. And that's how you obtained your votes. You just didn't win by no landslide. Either did you. You didn't win by a landslide. You misled the people. And I was one of them. And I had a group of people, and it was a group of us that all supported you because of that. So there, you're not honest, you're not trustworthy, and you're not worthy of being reelected. If you, like I say, we can't trust you. And look at the stuff that you have done with the amending the petition, taking the benefits, taking the salaries, doing this, and now the mayor has a whole different opinion on that. After she campaigned and got elected on no health benefits and no salary, she has a different opinion on that. She changed her mind. Well, this is what we can't have. We have to go forward. This is why our town is not going forward, because we do bait and switch, okay? And nothing's getting done in this town. Nothing. This town is an embarrassment. We don't have a municipal court. Look what we don't have, from the salt shed to a rec center. Now we're talking, because it's election, we're talking about turf in the field. We're $600,000 away. You weren't here, Mayor, but that was the figure that was used on Tuesday night. We're $600,000. What are you even thinking? What are you even entertaining it for? If we were $60,000, you could raise the money. $600,000, forget about it. It's an election, big thing for the election. Oh, we're going to turf this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You're going to do nothing. You don't have the money. And also the 0% increase on the budget. Let me ask through the chair, Mayor, can you run your town or your business with the same money as you did last year? Yes or no? Not an explanation.
Absolutely, yes. I'm doing it now in my
Okay,
business as well as
okay.
I'm doing it here
Well, let me
for
ask
the
you this. Okay,
residents of
Mayor, it was a
Saddlebrook.
yes or no answer I asked for. Is there an increase in PBA salaries this year? Mr. Samaluka, through the chair?
I believe there's a
I believe there is.
contractual increase, yes.
3%. White collar, 2%. Blue collar, 2%. Price of gasoline, I think, is going to go up. Price of insurance, I think, is going to go up. Price of salt is going to go up, plus any other repairs that we need. I mean, I don't know what we earmarked for the road repairs, but I'm sure the number that Mr. Costa gave for Leonia was more like what we need. And when you asked Mr. Calderon for a list of the roads, he said, pick any one. Where are we going to get this money to fix the roads from? Where are we going to get it? We're going to keep bonding? What are we going to do? Where are we going to get it from? Don't fool the people. Don't fool the people, because this is what you're doing. You're going to fool the people and say, oh, 0, 0, 0. And you know what? We're going backwards. We're going back. Look at the conditions of road. Another thing, Mayor, I have to disagree with you on is when you said that we weren't going to do our main arteries because we were getting the asphalt from the county, but we weren't getting the manpower or whatever. You know what? You have to do your main arteries first and open up the town, just like you do your snow plowing. You don't snowplow William Street. You don't snowplow Hayes Drive first before you do Midland, Market, Saddle River Road. You hit the main. That would be like the state opening up Morris County Airport rather than Newark, so we can get the planes into Morris County. Okay? Newark, you do your main arteries first. I'm not telling you what to do or how to do it, but if you did it that way, I think you better revisit it next time you go to do something like that. Like I say, the potholes stayed out here in front of Town Hall for a week. It's an embarrassment. Like I say, this road is heavily, heavily trafficked. Like I say, you have to know what's going on here, and we're not. You know what I mean? Like I say, we need to know what's going on. We're missing a lot of equipment that we don't have. Salt shed, chipper for trees, a bucket thing for trees, for taking trees down. We don't have any of that stuff. We don't have any of them. About time we should get it. Now, on the field, getting back to the field, what did that drawing cost? Through the chair, Mr. Samaluka? What did that drawing, Mr. Costa's engineering fees on that field?
No idea.
You have no idea. Does anybody have an idea?
I do.
Okay. Go ahead.
Nothing.
You did it for nothing.
We didn't do it.
Oh, you didn't do it.
No.
Okay.
Again, they met with the record.
Okay. Another thing, I just looked at the agenda real quickly, as I asked the last time. When you're putting the bills down and you're paying the bills, can we see the amount that we're being paid? Pete?
As far as,
Any engineering fees, corner nursery, can we see what we're spending?
sure.
Or you know what I mean? Or we have to come in and get that, Mr.
No.
Samaluka?
Be happy to give it to
Be
you.
happy to give it. Well, please put it on there. Don't, we like to see what's spending. And Mr. Chakowski, you made a comment. I couldn't talk after you made the comment. Did you represent the town or the city of Fort Lee in that deputy chief thing? That lawsuit that was filed there?
Ruder and Hart,
The one that we talked about,
yes, I represent
You-
the borough of Fort.
Fort Lee. And how did you make out on that?
We won the case.
You won the case. So why would you sit there when the mayor was giving out information that it's illegal to do and everything, and give your legal opinion of it?
The Ruder and Hart case.
I don't want to get into cases, but like I say,
Had nothing to do with the elimination of a position.
Okay.
in the township. It was a different type of case.
okay, well, would you please, not now, but in your other time, give the mayor, or that it is okay to do that, and we can eliminate that position going forward? Because it always seems that we have a roadblock, like we can't hire cops, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do this. Do it, okay? We do everything else wrong, so don't try to do everything right when it comes to the legality of things, because you can do it. Other towns are doing it, other towns are getting away with it, and there's not a problem with it. And like I said, I don't know what you people are gonna campaign on this year, but like I say, if the people believe you, they're fools. They're fools, because like I say, once a liar, always a liar, and I can't believe anything you say. I cannot believe anything you say. Okay, when you run a campaign on that, like I say, the person that wrote your campaign brochure won't even talk to you now. Okay? Think about that, the spot that you put them in for when they wrote that. Okay? So like I say, don't change your mind. If you're going to say something to get elected, bite the bullet for 4 years. Now this year, tell us what you're going to do. Okay? Don't get in and then change your mind, because people don't like that. People don't like to be double-crossed, and that's what we did. Okay? I have one more thing. We eliminated some positions here, which are janitors and stuff like that. We have a guy or a person or persons who's ever doing the cleaning, they're making $90,000 a year. Can't have that. Can't have a guy emptying waste paper baskets, cleaning toilets, and sweeping up and vacuuming, making $90,000 a year. We'll be broke in no time. We're broke now. So, but this is what we have. We have mismanagement of the positions.
Thank you, sir.
Okay? Thank you.
Hi, Sylvie Zattarelli, 232 Windsor Ave. Tuesday night at the work session, someone mentioned, I don't know who, and if this falls under personnel and you can't answer it, I understand. There was a retirement somewhere. Are you allowed to say who it was?
It's not, we don't have a retirement yet.
Oh, okay.
It's a discussion of the possible.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other member of the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting to the public.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Mason.
Second.
Second by Mr. Conti. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? None, passing unanimous. Before we get to council comments, I'll defer to the mayor for any comments or presentations that you have.
Yes, thank you, Council President. As you can see, the Township Council, particularly Flo Mazur tonight, we're all wearing blue. And that is because April is Autism Awareness Month. So I had requested one of our residents to come in here this evening. And in front of me, I have a proclamation that I'm proud to read from the Township proclaiming April as Autism Awareness Month. Whereas autism spectrum disorder represents a broad group of disorders that vary from mild to severe and is characterized by difficulty with social interaction, communication, severely limited interests, and repetitive behaviors. And whereas the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Studies have indicated that New Jersey has among the highest autism prevalence rates in this country. And whereas the lifelong nature of ASD and other developmental disabilities requires a variety of types of assistance at different points in an individual's life. And whereas a variety of public and private organizations and agencies strive to provide quality care, support, or services to children and adults with ASD to enable them to live as independently as possible and to reach their full potential. And whereas each organization has a role in identifying, assessing, or supporting people with ASD and their families. Now therefore be it resolved that I, as mayor, along with the Township Council of Saddlebrook, do hereby proclaim April 2014 as Autism Awareness Month in Saddlebrook, and sincerely encourage our residents to become more educated and informed about programs, services, and opportunities to support individuals with autism. Having said that, there are numerous families that I come across daily, particularly in the office of mayor as well as businesswoman in town. And we have one person that I had invited here this evening that could not be here, and that's Candy Trivigino Calderon. And she sent me a letter, and I would like to share it with everyone. It reads, I would like to offer my sincere gratitude to Mayor Chamberlain, the council, and all of the people in Saddlebrook for their continued support of autism awareness and those children and families affected by it. I regret not being able to accept this in person, but I have a prior commitment related to my work in the autism community. Our family and friends participate each May in the Autism Speaks Walk as laps for Luke. Luke is her son. And in 2014, our team will reach the $100,000 mark in fundraising, an accomplishment that we could not have achieved without the full support of Saddlebrook behind us. Adam and I were both raised in this town and are proud to be raising our family here. Please know that we are only one of many families in town following a journey of autism with our child. The latest statistics just released this week now indicate that 1 in every 68 children in the United States are diagnosed with autism. In New Jersey, the numbers are even higher. In fact, 1 out of every 21 boys in New Jersey will be diagnosed with autism. If you don't know someone yet, chances are you will soon. Our son Luke is blessed to have the support of a whole town behind him. Not all children are that lucky, and we do fully appreciate that. If anyone would like more information on the walk or how they can help those affected by autism, I do have Candy's email. It's thecalderon15@gmail.com, and we'll have it posted on the bulletin board and on the website. Thank you again for this prestigious declaration, and it's signed by Candy Trivigino Calderon. So as you can see, we are a community that cares. I'm proud to sit here as an elected official with our council members in support. So please go out. You hear of the walk, you hear of any information, anybody does any canning, you can see how the numbers are increasing in the state of New Jersey along with the entire country. On another note, for some notices, on April 12th, the township has entered into a shredding event, and that will take place at Ed's Tavern from 9 to 1. It was very successful last year, and you recycle any confidential documents by safely shredding them. There's a large truck, it's like an elevator type. You watch firsthand your confidential papers going in, and it empties into the truck. But let me remind everyone, 1 o'clock comes, the truck is out of there, because we had some residents come in a little late, like 5 after, and he was gone. So come, bring your magazines, your newspapers, and you have a limit of 4 bags, no more than 10 pounds each, and you'll observe, as I said, the materials being shredded. Proof of residency is required, and no materials from businesses will be accepted. So if anyone has any further questions, you can call the office here at 201-587-2903. Now, on another family issue in Saddlebrook regarding Thomas Buchak, and I'm sure the public is aware of the disability of this young gentleman in town who, because he was getting some home care, the state wouldn't fund the monies for him to go to a daycare center. And he desperately needed that socialization and what they could do for him there physically. So we've had some state senators and assemblymen. There are bills down in Trenton right now that hopefully will pass. Well, since government works too slowly, this township came together and numerous organizations have had fundraisers. And thanks be to those people in God, Thomas is now being sent to the daycare center in Fairlawn for daily activities. Now, the Drums from Heaven are having another fundraiser because the family has enough money to get through this year, because I've spoken with Thomas's parents about that. And until the state reacts in a positive manner, the family is still in need in the future. So again, mark your calendars, April 27th, VFW, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. And donations are accepted at the door, and it's $20. And this will help the Buchak family out greatly. Then also, we have our Easter egg hunt coming up, which is on Saturday, April 19th. Last year we had it at the senior center, and we had the egg hunt across the street at the old nursing home. Well, much to our surprise, we did not anticipate the amount of children. We had about 100 children come into the senior center. There's a light breakfast being served for them. But the best part of this is that it was a Easter bonnet parade for the girls, and for the boys it was best dressed. And there were prizes for all age categories, and we set up the category age from birth to age 1, age 2 to 3 years old, then to 4 and 5 years old, to 6 and 7 years old, and 8 years and older. And it was really great to see the little boys come in, little tuxedos, top hats. The girls were gorgeous. Some even made their own Easter bonnets. They really, really enjoyed it. But because it was so overcrowded, this year we're going to have it at the VFW, and it'll be from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And I'm seeking permission from the cemetery. There's a grassed area which is safe for the children, and I'll be speaking to the police department and the DPW for the children to do their egg hunt there, and then go in. And the thought is that we'll have them walk on stage so they can all feel good about themselves. I'm hoping we can get the TV camera there, and we'll have the Easter Bunny dressed for photos. You can bring your own cameras, and the Saddlebrook Women's Club and the Mayor's Youth Group run this. So we have a good balance of 4th graders to high school youth, as well as the ladies. So I'm welcoming everyone to come. There will be a flyer that is going to be passed out through the schools and the nursery schools. And just as a reminder, it's not a Board of Education sponsored event. It's sponsored by the Township, and Board of Ed is nice enough to disseminate the flyers. So for that now should bring us up to date on those items. Little League opening day is the same day as the shredding. And that will be, there's going to be a Little League parade this year from Sheppes, the corner of Sheppes, going down to Fairlawn Parkway. The Little League is still waiting for the chief to get back to okay the route, but that normally is okay, so there won't be a problem there. Setup is at 10:30, the parade starts at 11, and then the youth throw out the first ball. So we have the shredding at 9, we have the 11 o'clock Little League parade, and then 3 o'clock that afternoon, we have our Girl Scouts who were very instrumental with the Connecticut shootings, the Newton, Connecticut. We will be having guests here at the town hall from Newton, as our scouts went up there personally to offer whatever they could to those families of the lost children. And they now have a bench that they're going to dedicate, and the deceased names will be on that, and we're hoping to locate it in the town hall. So that's on the same day also. So the 12th will be a busy day. So we have from 9, 11, and 3 p.m., and I'm hoping everyone would come out in support of all of the activities. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. Council comments? You want to start? I got a number, but.
All right, I'll go. I just want to comment. When we ran the last campaign, we also campaigned on bringing back the television station. And we did bring back the television station. We had a volunteer that was willing to run it and take care of everything. But unfortunately, that volunteer was run off or ridiculed on someone's blog constantly. So he was tired of it and he left. When we campaigned, I didn't volunteer and say I was going to run the television station. I spend countless hours running the television station now, keeping everything afloat, working on the computers, making sure it's up every day, making sure things get posted on the website. Prior to us bringing back the television station, when it first started, there was a police officer that was making around $90,000 to run the television station. Then another individual was hired after that police officer retired, and he was paid $60,000 to $65,000 a year to run the station. I do a lot for this town, and circumstances do change. I have to spend a lot of time keeping this television station going. If anybody is into television, you know how much time needs to be put in to make sure that everything is running properly, the equipment is upgraded. We did a tremendous amount of upgrading. I mean, we've done a tremendous amount of upgrading in this town hall with the sound system. We're still upgrading the cameras, which will be presenting to the council next meeting for approval. There is a lot that we do, and circumstances do change. And I admit, I take the stipend. I don't take the benefits, but I take the stipend because I have to devote a lot of my time to the television station, which, again, when we campaigned, we said we'd bring it up and running, but didn't say that I was going to have to run it. I don't mind running it, but it does take a lot of time. Thank you.
Joe?
Yeah, I would like to just say congratulations to the Saddlebrook Little League. They have their opening day. Wish them a very successful season. I would also like to say Happy Easter, everybody. It is Easter this upcoming month. Thank you, that's it.
Share?
Oh, sure. Okay. Not that I like to bring attention to myself. Anyway, at this time, I'd just like to commend everyone, all the individuals and the organizations who have been instrumental in bringing autism awareness to our attention. And know that you have your community that is willing to help you on your journey. And we are here in any form that you need us. Thank you.
In regard to autism, you can see as a token of solidarity, everyone's wearing blue today, and there's a blue light bulb here to signify our observation of Autism Awareness Month. There's some saying, and I'm going to butcher it, but God doesn't burden anyone who can't handle the weight. And I got to say, God bless to the parents for having to deal with something that thankfully I haven't had, and had to deal with, and I give them all the credit in the world for taking care of these children. And I also have to thank, right now in the Washington School, we have a lot of children somewhere on the spectrum, and we have to give our thanks to the teachers and aides who go out of their way. And I know personally, my wife is involved in that. They love what they do, and they go over and above what they have to do. I know that personally. So I want to give a special thanks out, special shout out and thanks to the teachers, the aides, and everyone involved in trying to help in that situation. Jake Myers passed away. We did a moment of silence. Unfortunately, his son passed away before him last year, so we lost two members of our fire department in the last 2 years of the Myers family, and ex-chief Bobby Myers Jr. Was the grandson of Jake, and we want to, again, thank the Myers family for years and years of service. Mayor mentioned a number of things that were going on. One thing that actually kind of dovetails into the Drums from Heaven, which is on April 27th at 3 p.m. Unico is doing a car show and an Italian food feast on April 27th, and that goes from 10 to 3, and the Buchak benefit starts at 3, so it kind of works out very well. That'll be at the Washington School parking lot on Market Street. They had it last year. They had it several times, but last year was a very nice success. I just have to take some time to obviously just respond, and I appreciate Mr. Ratajczyk's comments, but I just want to say, in the past, I believe that the comments were made from the perspective of a taxpayer, and someone was concerned with the town. And I know Larry for a long time, and since our kids were 5, going to Little League together, and he's been outspoken on a number of issues, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just have to say, from this point on, and again, it's an election year, and he brought up the fact that it's an election year, but Larry is the president of the local Democratic Club, and I'm certain that he would like his candidates to win. And his candidates are running against the mayor, Mr. Conti, and Mr. Halko. So, you know, hopefully it'll be a clean campaign, and, you know, good luck to everybody in there. But when comments are made from the podium, transparency would require that you have to know where they're coming from. And whether they're still from someone who is very concerned about Saddlebrook and the taxes in Saddlebrook and the activities in Saddlebrook, or someone who wants to have his people elected. And I think the Democratic chairman probably would be shocked to know that based on a flyer, he voted Republican 4 years ago, but good for us. I disagree that the town isn't going forward. I think the town is going forward. I don't see, walking around or driving around, I don't see that this town is dilapidating. I actually see it going forward. I get that opposite impression. Tonight, we're gonna have 3 resolutions that are gonna be on. We are applying for every grant known to man. And we have 3 of them. There is a Bergen County paving program that we'll talk about. We talked about it the other night, where if we front the money for handicap access curb cuts, we have to front the money that the county will pave certain county roads. And the county roads that they've identified as places that they'd like to do the work would be Outwater Lane. We'd have to obviously coordinate that with Garfield if we're going to do that road. Market Street and Midland Avenue. And certainly those roads need to be taken care of. We'll front the money, and then we get those monies reimbursed. Don't know how much money we're going to get, don't know how many of those roads are going to be paved, and don't know how much of those roads are going to be paved, but hopefully it'll be a lot. Thank you. Mr. Costa, please jump in.
After Tuesday's night's meeting, I spoke to Tom Connolly the next morning. They're ready to pave Outwater Lane, Market, and Midland. obviously based on the handicap ramps. The only thing that we need to coordinate with, obviously, Public Service Electric and Gas is doing a major project on Outwater Lane in that area, so we'd have to coordinate around their schedule. But regardless whether the county does it, Public Service is also gonna pave curb to curb with their project that's ongoing now. I'm meeting with Jason Alex on Monday morning at 9 o'clock. We're gonna meet on Midland Avenue, and from there, we're gonna walk the entire town as far as those streets, come up with the list of ramps that need to be done, and then I'll come back with an estimate to the council. If the council says yes, it'll be moved forward very quickly. Also, Tuesday morning, we have a meeting at the railroad site with the potholes that exist there, with all of the railroads present and the county, to try to straighten that out once and for all.
Maybe those two, I mean, if they're, let's say they pave Midland from Erie north to Quick that would take into account the railroad crossings, and maybe everyone's fighting jurisdiction-wise over who's gonna fix it.
Well-
But if that's part of the program, perhaps that'll solve it.
I think that needs to get solved immediately. So Tuesday's meeting is different than Monday's, but Tuesday should be done immediately. And then also, there's because of the PSE&G project down by the substation, on Midland itself, I almost lost my car today in a catch basin, and I'm not gonna have that. And that's one of their basins, so that'll be discussed also on Monday to get that rectified immediately.
So we're going for, and that's not a grant, that's just a program from the county.
Program, no grants.
And somebody who remained nameless, who tipped me off to that, and then Rob and I, made some contacts with the county, because they have some money. We just had to ask. So it was there, and through the county's willingness to assist us.
Also, if I could just interject for one other.
Sure.
I found out yesterday, I actually got a phone call. It looks as if the Marcellus Bridge is going forward. I believe another engineering company got the contract to, I'm not sure which one, but I think the contract was let out.
Boswell.
Okay, Boswell did get it.
Boswell has it.
And they will start designing a new bridge.
And when I was at that county meeting, Rob, they're predicting 18 months
Okay.
for completion.
So again, I mean, things do take time, but it appears that things are in motion.
That is
Also, if I could, just before I forget, the stay on drainage, I met with Andrew Yassa on Wednesday morning from the state of New Jersey, went by Route 46. Within the next 2 weeks, we're gonna coordinate what's gonna go on there to open up that culvert underneath Route 46. And then I'm probably gonna need some money from the county in order to bring an outside contractor in to possibly supplement what the state is doing in order to remove some of the debris that's down there.
And in regards to PSE&G, there was a contribution from PSE&G that you were able to obtain.
There's there was a contribution, I think on tonight, there's a developer's agreement that the council has to authorize the mayor to sign. There was a cash contribution, close to $400,000, just to put earmark towards drainage rehabilitation at the south end of town.
So that'll certainly help. Okay, and you're working with the state, so hopefully, things, again, will go forward in regard to drainage, which has been a problem. Marcellus Bridge, internal drainage, those have been problems for forever.
We're making progress, and now that reach will be close to complete.
And Anthony, I think you're gonna talk about you have your own resolution on.
Yeah,
for
we'll
tonight,
do that
so-
when we do the consent agenda, right?
Sure, or under new business if you like,
Okay.
however you wanna work that. In regard to a zero increase, I'm happy that there's a zero increase, and I don't think we're cutting out anything. Actually, you'll see the roads are being paved. Getting back to those other resolutions that we have on, there is a state grant program, which we have a resolution to authorize Mr. Costa and the administrator to go forward with and apply. One is called TAPS, which is I forget which one is which, there's two of them. One is for school children, that would be for the sidewalks, to make the sidewalks accessible, and it's gotta be within 2 miles of a school, since we're only 2 square miles. Any place in Saddlebrook would qualify, so we're going to do that. And also, the other one would be for, there's 7 categories, and I think the one that really would fit within would be landscaping. That's a separate grant that we are going to apply. So there'll be 3 resolutions, one to authorize Mr. Costa to meet with the county, which set it up ahead of time,
Monday
anticipating that we would pass that, and hopefully it will pass. And the other 2 would be to authorize you and Mr. Rodico to apply for those grants. I think the drop dead date is May 15th. In regard to paving those roads, it's a holy mess, as a lot of roads are. However, we have from the DPW 62 interior roads that were in fact paved in front of certain houses, certain intersections. The way I can differentiate between the plowing and the paving is that if you don't plow, no one can move anywhere. You can drive on Midland Avenue, you can drive on Market Street, you can drive on the county roads. It's just you gotta avoid the potholes, and you gotta try and avoid the potholes. If they're not plowed, you're not moving at all. So I think there is a difference. Again, it's an opinion. We should do one thing before the other. The mayor had a different opinion, I'm assuming in conjunction with the head of the DPW department. And I don't agree always with the mayor, I agree with you. I agree that this was the right time to take. In regard to DPW employees doing the garbage, there was a decision made years ago, I think probably before Ms. Chamberlain was mayor, to switch that around. And from my understanding, and I think I'm correct, that person is not only assigned to be a janitor. That person, if need be, will be plowing. That person will be doing fields. That person will be doing a variety of things. Might be driving the bus, snow plowing, picking up garbage, whatever it is. So there is no person dedicated solely to being a janitor. So I agree, that's a lot of money for a janitor, but that person is not just doing janitorial work. I think in terms of my comments, just happy Easter to everyone. I know we've taken this a little bit different out of turn, but we will be doing our regular order of business now. We may be talking about some old business and new business later on in this meeting. And I may be referring to Rod, because under old business, there are a couple of issues that we probably have to talk about, some of which were brought up from the podium.
I want to make one comment on the 0 increase. I mean, I think it's a fiscal responsibility that we try and keep taxes low. In fact, at the podium last year, an individual came up and said we need to tighten our belts. Now, I guess he doesn't like that, so he's telling us to loosen our belts and raise taxes.
Mr. Tychek?
So, I mean,
Just
it was said,
asking,
it's
you
public
refrain?
record. It was said at the meeting. So, that's my comment I'd like to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to ordinances.
Ordinance 1571-14, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank. For final reading.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr.
Second
Halpern?
it. I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Unanimous?
An ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
Okay, motion to open it to the public?
Motion.
I guess Mr. Conti beat you to the punch. Ms. Mazur with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Seeing none, it passes unanimously. Any member of the public wish to address the council on this ordinance and this ordinance only? None, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting to the public.
Motion.
Mr. Halko, second by Mr. Conti, all in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Pass unanimously.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, does now pass on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
We have a motion to pass this ordinance. Motion by Mr.
Second.
Conti, second by Mr. Halco. Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
Councilman Halco.
Yes.
Councilwoman Maiser.
Yes.
Council President Simon.
Yes.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requests it, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications. We have off the consent agenda resolutions 11, 12, 15, 17, and to, you want to read them separately, the others, or you want them off the consent? 18,
I think that what we'll do is read them, but keep them on the consent agenda. Mr. Halco, your resolution and the other three resolutions?
Okay.
And resolution number 8?
Yeah.
Resolution number 8.
We'll read that one too.
You need a motion on that?
Which one are we gonna do first?
Consent agenda?
Oh. Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
items? Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
Councilman Halco.
Yes.
Councilwoman Maiser.
Yes.
Council President Simon.
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 8.
We didn't have anyone who's missing? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, resolution number 8. Where's that? Resolution number 8 on the agenda here is, whereas for over a century, public utilities have been taxed for their use of municipal right-of-ways. And whereas in the 80s, the state of New Jersey began collecting the utility taxes and distributing the receipts to the municipalities. And whereas these tax receipts earmarked for municipalities were, over the years, diverted to the state treasury. And whereas property tax relief was slashed by the state by approximately $28 million in 2008, $32 million in 2009, and $271 million in 2010, leaving municipalities throughout the state with less revenue for tax relief. And whereas the state legislature has recognized the inequity created and have introduced with bipartisan support Assembly Bill A-1021 and Senate Bill S-268, phasing in over a 5-year period the distribution of the energy taxes to municipalities. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that it hereby supports passage of A-1021 and S-268, and be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be sent to Governor Christie, Senate President Sweeney, Assembly Speaker Vincent Prieto, Senator Robert Gordon, and Assemblyman Tim Eustace and Joe Regano of the 38th Legislative District. No, we passed it. Part of the consent. These were part of the consent agenda and have already been passed, but we're just indicating what they were.
Resolution 19.
Is that new one? I don't think I have it. What is it? Huh? I got it, huh? Let's see. Which one is this? I got it. Got it? Okay. This one is dated today. Whereas the state of New Jersey has announced it is accepting applications for the 2014 Transportation Alternative Program, TAP, and whereas some of the eligible categories includes landscaping along roads, and whereas the Township of Saddlebrook wishes to apply for this grant, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that Robert Costa is hereby authorized to make application on behalf of the Township of Saddlebrook to the New Jersey Department of Transportation, administrators of the Transportation Alternatives Program. Resolution 20 is dated today again. Whereas the state of New Jersey has announced that it is accepting applications for the 2014 Safe Routes to Schools Program, SRTS. And whereas the main purpose of this grant is to provide safer environment for students walking and bicycling to school, and whereas the Township of Saddlebrook wishes to apply for this grant. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that Robert Costa is hereby authorized to make application on behalf of the Township of Saddlebrook to the New Jersey Department of Transportation administrators of the Safe Routes to School program. Two. Dated today again, whereas the County of Bergen each year has funding available for paving county roads, and whereas Midland Avenue, Market Street, and Atwater Lane are eligible for resurfacing due to the number of years that have transpired since they were last repaved. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that it hereby authorizes the Township Engineer to meet with the County Engineer to commence a county paving program in the Township of Saddlebrook. Anthony?
And want to go through the
I'm sorry.
one years?
Yeah.
You want to read that, or you want to talk just?
Yeah, I'd like
say
to
what it is?
read it.
Sure.
All right, it's dated April 1st, 2014, whereas the development of fields, woodlands, and other parcels of land in Bergen, Essex, Morris, and Passaic counties in New Jersey and Rockland County in New York State has added additional stormwater runoff into the Hackensack River, Saddle River, Pompton River, Ramapo River, and Passaic River, and into other smaller streams, culverts, and tributaries in these counties. Whereas the stormwater runoff directed into these rivers does lead to flooding of streets and homes in Bergen and Passaic County and severely impacts the lives of those residing there. Whereas this flooding has been occurring more and more frequently over the past 30 to 40 years, and studies have been performed by the Army Corps of Engineers over this time frame to come up with a solution to the flooding, with little or no progress being made for any relief or mitigation to resolve the severe flooding that is caused by this runoff for these areas in Bergen and Passaic counties. Whereas the municipalities that contribute stormwater runoff into these rivers and tributaries receive taxes from property owners in their local municipality. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that all municipalities in Bergen, Essex, Morris, Passaic, and Rockland counties contributing stormwater runoff into these bodies of water listed in this resolution should contribute their equal share of funds necessary to bring about a solution and mitigation to the flooding of streets and homes in Bergen and Passaic counties that is caused by the stormwater runoff that is directed into these rivers. And be it further resolved that the state of New Jersey and the federal government also contribute the funds necessary to complete the flood mitigation for this stormwater runoff in Bergen and Passaic counties. And be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be sent to Governor Christie, Assembly and Senate leaders, Congressman Pascrell, County Executive Kathleen Donovan, the Bergen County Board of Freeholders, and all municipalities in the County of Bergen and the County Government of Essex, Passaic, Morris, and Rockland County. Yes.
We need a second.
Did we,
No, it's not part of consent.
That's not part of consent agenda? We have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Halco?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Can I just comment on this?
Sure.
I mean, the reason for this resolution, a couple of years ago, we brought into litigation to help clean up the Passaic River, and we had to make our fair contribution to the Passaic River, which Saddlebrook really didn't pollute the Passaic River, but we had to provide funding to help clean the river. The same should hold true for this flooding. Every town in Bergen County and in Rockland County puts water into the Saddle River and these other rivers that all flow into the Passaic River. The government, the federal government, is doing very little to help us here in Bergen County and Passaic County. And the state is doing very little. So we all need to band together. It impacts us. I mean, if they're dumping their stormwater into the river, why should we end up with it here? It's just the right thing to do. Everybody should contribute a fair share so we can get these projects going and address this issue with the Passaic River, the Saddle River, and every other river in Bergen County that contributes flooding to all these other towns. I mean, it's just...
And Anthony, I'll be bringing that resolution to the next flood meeting, and I'd like to ask Pete to send it to the meeting we attended to our counterpart in Mullen. So that, well, I'll ask to have that placed on the agenda to further the other towns becoming available to us.
Because unless we do it ourselves, nothing's gonna happen. I mean,
No,
we'll be
we can't
living with
do it
this
alone.
100 years from now. I mean, nothing
No,
is
it's
being
very
done.
good. Resolution.
Anything that's not on the, any other?
Yes.
items, please?
On the consent agenda, we have resolution number 11, approve payment of bills, Costa Engineering, as posted on the bulletin board.
Have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Halco, second by Mr. Conti. Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri,
Yes.
Councilman Conti,
Yes.
Councilman Halco,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Council President Samuka.
Abstain.
And we have the payment of bills for Corner Nursery.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Second by Mr. Conti. Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri,
Yes.
Councilman Conti,
Yes.
Councilman Halco,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer,
Abstain.
and Council President Samuka.
Yes.
And to award bid for sale of surplus vehicles, DPW.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
Councilman Halco,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer,
Abstain.
and Council President Samuka.
Yes.
And that's it. Okay.
So now we have, we're done with all the resolutions and ordinance?
Yes.
Old business. Just want, Rob, you handed us this document. We talked about it, the other day about the Veterans Field.
Yes.
And again, we'd all like there to be a turf field, I think. However, the cost estimate, even through a co-op, is like $1.3 million. My understanding is right now, Pete, we have about 800 or 900?
800,000.
800,000.
Here's, after the meeting the other night, we reached back out for field turf. The second, I guess, command got back to us later this afternoon, so we don't have the exact number, but I think what was discussed the other night, that if we could just do the football field the way it is now and don't go past those limits, how much would that cost? And that's what I'm waiting for him to get back.
Okay.
Still includes drainage, though.
You're gonna have to put something in there for drainage, no question.
Well, that's the whole purpose of this, is drainage. See, this is what I'm gonna ask that you look at, and, as an alternative. Again, we're getting a grant of $400,000.
Correct.
We have to match that, and what we decided to do.
You have a grant for $400,000.
We have
It's
the
approved,
grant.
yes.
We had some money set aside for this, and then there was a $100,000 reimbursement from the state for excess pension payments, which rather than putting back and going for less than a zero increase, I think there was, from the municipal level, was it what, $12 or $14 decrease actually? $10? Yeah, so it's less than zero. Make it less than that, we could have put the $100,000 in, but what we decided to do was to earmark that toward this project. However, to me, 1.3 million means 1.5 million, because it's never that amount. It's always more. We know that in every part of our life. It always seems to be more than what's estimated. There's always cost overruns. I'm sorry, it happens. I think their police station was like almost double from when it started. So we understand that happens. What about making it the best possible grass field by fixing the drainage? I think the problem on that field has always been the drainage situation, whether it's turf or grass. If you don't fix the drainage, so perhaps, and Joe, you coached there, for forever. If we can fix the drainage underneath there and make it a very playable grass field, and see what, throw a sprinkler system in, something like that.
Sprinklers are.
Get sprinklers in? Well, we have to, you're gonna have to do something with the drainage and rip it up a little bit. Maybe, it's one thing, if we do this, we're short by a lot of money. Perhaps, the other way, we will have additional money, and then we will check into seeing if we can do other things at that field that don't necessarily involve the football field. Let's just throw numbers around. Let's say it costs, we have $800,000 earmarked. Part of it, half it's through the grant. $800,000 or $900,000. And it cost $400,000 to do the grass field and make that the right thing. Maybe there's additions to the lighting or something like that. To use the additional monies to fix up the garage that's there, make it, I know you're gonna need handicap accessible bathroom facilities, but I think we gotta look into that. Because what happens is, we've gotta match it. We don't wanna go over, but if we're significantly under, we've gotta, we gotta use that money, because it's grant money. And maybe we can do two things. I mean, it's all the same project, and it's all for the kids, it's all in the same area. Maybe we can justify using it for that. We cleaned out the garage, may or may not be feasible, I don't know, but we've got this space there, and I know Joe, from a coaching perspective, and someone who's very involved in rec wrestling, cheerleaders, it wouldn't be for lacrosse, it wouldn't be for track, it wouldn't be for any of the sports that needs a lot of room, but for indoor sports.
Yeah, gym space that we get bumped out of or we don't have, we would have some kind of facility to go to that we own, you know.
So if you could possibly, as an alternative, to see what it would be drainage-wise and re-sodding the field, as opposed to, getting this turf, which looks pretty and everything like that, but without the drainage, you could have the nicest looking field in the world, it's not gonna work.
Yes.
If the county says you can
If it can be done. I know it
It can
has
be
to be
done.
at that area, but,
it can be though, right?
He'll work with us.
It'll work, okay.
yeah,
Come up with
as long as it's in that area, I believe that we can get the county to work with us regarding that. So, it depends on the numbers, maybe it's $800,000 to redo the field and do the drainage. I don't know, I'm hoping that's a hell of a lot less, but let's see what we can do. That's,
Okay.
Is everyone in agreement
agree.
to get an
Yeah.
alternative plan there?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, we should
absolutely.
definitely explore other avenues, definitely.
You don't wanna lose that
Yeah.
grant.
Okay.
And the next thing under old business, because it's old, because the Saddle River has been a problem forever. You got a letter from the NJDEP that you sent over to all of us, talking about the desnagging, with the streamlining the process.
Permit. They
The
approved the
permit,
permit.
they
Yeah.
approved the permit?
Yes.
So what's,
You're
take us
talking
through
about
that.
we have a $100,000 grant, if that's what you're talking about.
Well, there's something that came over that talks about
Stacy
what we've
emailed
gotta
over.
do. Stacy sent it to us. I
She sent
thought
it
it was
to
a,
us today or yesterday.
Today,
it looked,
this afternoon.
it looked
Late-
like,
Late this afternoon.
what she said was a grant, and
That's that's the $100,000 grant.
It was just a DEP,
Right.
saying that you gotta go through their guidelines and you gotta do everything.
Correct.
So we're
But the
getting
town,
s-
no, the
some money-
township has received a $100,000 grant.
Okay, but we still have to go through the process?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what that letter, so what exactly has to be done?
Andrew, I'll be meeting with the engineer on that.
Right.
Okay.
And Mike Calderon, Passaic Valley Commission, and Future, to see the best possible use of that $100,000. And then when I have this meeting, we'll be directing the DPW to clean out the culverts, because DEP has lifted some of their regulations that we can go in and do that now. So now that spring is here, the plan is Rob and I and the others will doing another walkthrough through the Saddle River and going according to the guidelines and working in conjunction with Betsy up in Mawa.
Okay.
So
very
that's
good.
the plans for the future
And
for
and
that.
this is totally different than this project that they referred to, and we
Completely.
didn't have a specific area, no one could tell where they were going to fix or clean?
Correct. There was $3 million, if this is what I think you're talking about,
Yeah.
there was $3 million that was allocated, and then different communities got a piece of that pie. Saddlebrook got $100,000, and there is no project that $100,000 is earmarked to. So it's up to the community, the town,
Yes.
to use that money almost like a mitigation plan.
Good.
So we're gonna use that, and again, come up with an idea of where to use it and how to utilize it, to de-snag and to do some of these open channels.
And that'll be happening as soon as possible.
Yeah, I get that. But there was something else where they were going to, they sent us something saying they were going to do some desnagging on their own,
the county or the mosquito commission?
It's
That-
the
That one
same-
brook or culvert, that,
Oh, the 57.
the 57 cubic yards, they were gonna.
No, that's complete, no, no,
That's a
That's
different
what
thing.
he's talking
that has
about.
nothing to do with this.
Right,
That has
that's what I'm saying,
nothing,
it's different.
nothing to do
And
with this.
has that been done, or, I mean, based on the weather, probably couldn't have been done?
I
Is
don't
it-
believe that's been done.
Is it going to be done? So when you meet with them, if you could just
That's-
ask what's gonna
Well,
happen.
we have a list on the agenda to go
Okay.
over.
Right.
On the
All right.
river.
All right, very good. Okay, anybody else with old business? Any new business?
If I could just say one thing.
Yes, sir.
Any of the residents on Second Street, Fourth Street, Jefferson, public service is down there every day, and I know there's, obviously, there's a lot of construction activity going on, and I'm sure it's an inconvenience to a lot of the residents down there. We were down there today most of the day because there were some issues going on this morning and this afternoon. There's going to be a little more activity that needs to take place with the water mains that are down there, and I need to discuss that with the attorney and probably Mr. Ladico and the council and obviously the mayor, what's going on. But the residents, obviously, if they see anything, if there's any issues, contact Borough Hall, contact either my office, contact Pete, just in case you need help or something down there, because it's going to be a little bit of an inconvenience for some time down there.
And while you're here, was there any other project that you'd like to comment on, or?
Sylvan Street, there was an authorization tonight. If
Yes.
we can now set up a pre-construction meeting and get that project in motion. It's been bid, let, there's a contractor.
Just real quick, what is that? Just
Milling,
paving?
milling and resurfacing.
And you're working on Cambridge, correct?
Cambridge, it's up to the council how far we want to go. Just tell me and we'll put the plans together and get it out to bid. The water main project will go out to bid within the next 2 weeks. Letter
Rob,
went
in
down.
order to, I think, would have to be led by your expertise. You and I were out there, we visited the location, we visited the homes, and we know from Rugby, at least halfway up.
Right, is what you need to do.
That's where the problem is.
Correct.
So why can't you offer us to get something on the agenda for next month? Because those residents have been patiently waiting, and I'd like to have alternatives, but at least to resolve the initial problem that was brought to my attention.
Okay.
I'd like something to be
a number,
presented to
no
the
problem.
council, so it's on the next agenda for review and hopefully approval. So then that we can go out for bid.
No problem.
As spring is coming, I'd like to see that done
Okay.
by the summertime, if the council agrees, because we've been discussing this.
Sooner rather than later,
Okay.
for these projects. All right.
Yeah, 'cause winter's coming.
I'm sorry?
Winter's coming.
And I'm also, Jaren, I spoke with, if I may, just old business, I've spoken of it before. I'm not happy with the property on Fifth Street, the old Amloids. It's horrendous for those people that live across the street. So I've been speaking with Tony to send some letters out. If not for anything, I'm going to be requesting that they slap that fencing, so at least it hides some of the debris, because it's my understanding that they're still checking for contamination. So that is my understanding of the delay there, but it's an eyesore. So I'll be going throughout town handling that end.
Under new business, we were unable to get it on the agenda, but I am going to propose that we amend the table of organization to eliminate the deputy chief's position. There's something that the attorney had referenced as a sunset clause. Obviously, for those who don't know, the deputy chief has requested a leave of absence that was granted by the mayor. So, again, I wish you well. And what we'd like to do, or what I'd like to do, is introduce an ordinance to amend the table of organization to eliminate the deputy chief's position, but that would, obviously, even though he would be on a leave of absence, that doesn't take effect now, just so people don't get all along. It's actually would be, the deputy chief's position shall be eliminated once the current deputy chief resigns, retires, or is otherwise terminated, and at that time the position shall be abolished from this table of organizations. Um, Many people, Mr. Rodriguez and I have not agreed on much in the last few years, but I didn't disagree with him on that whole issue. Actually, I think I brought it up to him before he came up here. The issue was we had a legal opinion indicating that that was not allowed. Tuesday night's work session, our council said it was allowed as long as this is the way that it has to be done. And based on that legal opinion, I'd like to put forth this ordinance, which would amend the table of organization, would otherwise keep the table of organization intact, other than that one position. And Mr. Chakowski, I'm just gonna ask that you
If I may.
comment.
The reference to the legal opinion that the town had did not address specifically the deputy chief position. It addressed an abolishment of a position that would require the involvement of civil service and would require a layoff and bunking list. So that's the opinion that you had back in 2011 from then Labor Council, which was Curtis Fitzpatrick. He provided that to me. I looked at it and said it has nothing to do with what you're doing. The case law that we talked about requires that a position be listed in the table of organization. It has nothing to do with what you're proposing. So what we've done is that your table indicates that this is your table, the position exists, and that person who currently holds that position is no longer there. It's automatically abolished. We did add one other thing that, or another clause to the ordinance, was that we provided that the positions are to be a maximum number of positions, and nothing requires you to fill those positions. And that is a provision that you put in there so that someone can't say, well, there's a vacancy in the office of captain, you are required to appoint somebody as captain. You do not have to do that. So it's available if for staffing reasons those positions aren't necessary, you do not have to be filled. This is basically eliminates the position once the current individual vacates that.
Okay. Anybody wish to comment on this proposed ordinance? This is on first reading. It's ordinance 1572-14. So I'll say the next order of business is the introduction of an ordinance amending Chapter 33, Section 1 of the Saddlebrook Code entitled Police Department so as to amend the table of organization for the police department, be passed and adopted on first reading. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Halka.
Second.
Second by Mr. Conti. Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilman Conti?
Yes.
Councilman Halka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Council President Simulka?
Yes. Please read the resolution regarding passage and adoption on first reading.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance amending Chapter 33, Section 1 of the Saddlebrook Code entitled Police Department so as to amend the table of organization for the police department heretofore passed on first reading be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the first day of May 2014 at 7:00 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Conti.
Second.
Second by Mr. Halka. And before we take a roll call, I just wanted to specify, Mr. Chakowski, in the ordinance, I think you turned the 6 into a 9 for sergeants. It should be 6.
It should be 6. I had the original code. I went on the website, just looked, it should be 6 sergeants. The published version provides for up to 6 sergeants.
Right, so just so we all understand, the table of organization is 1 chief, currently 1 deputy chief. There's the asterisk there about the sunset provision, up to 3 captains, up to 3 lieutenants, and we're voting on up to 6 sergeants. We are not amending the number of sergeants. That's clear to everybody before there's a vote. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Please roll call.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilman Conti?
Yes.
Councilman Halka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Simulka?
Council President Simulka?
Yes. Any other new business? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Mr. Halfo, second by Mr. Conti, all in favor?
Yeah, sorry.
Any objections? Pass unanimous. Meeting